Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to video 5 in my series Think and Grow Rich. And in this video, we'll dive deeper into how you can develop a wealthy mind. So reading chapter 4 in Napoleon Hill's book was a very interesting experience as it helped me gain a deeper understanding on the whole process. And also I gained a few insights along the way, which I'm going to share all of that with you in this video. So in chapter 4, Napoleon Hill goes back to the process he shared earlier, and you can go and watch video number 3 to understand the whole process. And it kind of expands and explains the reason behind it. So I'll just summarize the process so we can talk about it more now. So if you want to achieve the wealth that you wish to have, this is the process that you need to follow. So step number 1 is to articulate the specific sum of money that you want to have. So whether it's 50,000 or 100,000 or whatever it might be for you, you need to articulate it and write it on a piece of paper. And then comes step number 2, which is about what is the price that you're willing to pay to achieve this sum of money. And this is where I understood that I finally realized that I got it wrong the first time, because I thought that by the price that you need to pay, Napoleon Hill is talking about you need to sacrifice something, you need to give up on something from your life. And I think the reason I thought that is because when I had a corporate career, it came with a big price tag. I actually had to sacrifice time with my family, time with my children, time to socialize with others. I sacrificed a lot to have this corporate career. And that's why I assume that he means that I need to sacrifice something to achieve that wealth. But actually in chapter 4, he expands and explains a bit more. And apparently the price that you need to pay is basically, how are you helping something? What is the service that you giving other people in order to gain that money? So for example, if you're a personal trainer, you can say, I want $30,000 and in exchange, I'm going to help people get fit. Or if you are an art teacher, you can say, I want to have $100,000 and in return, I'm going to teach people how to draw and how to paint. So basically the price that you pay is what are you doing in return for that money? So this is step number 2. And then we go to step number 3, which is articulate the date by which you want to have that sum of money. So you need to provide a specific date and write it down. And then in step number 4, it says that you need to come up with a plan. Okay, now that you know the sum of money that you want to have, and what kind of service you're going to provide in exchange for it, and by what date you want to achieve this sum of money, you need to come up with a plan as to how you're going to make it happen. And this is where Napoleon Hill expanding on that and says that you don't need to know all the plan right now, and you probably won't know the whole plan right now. So it's okay if you write a part of the plan or just the starting steps, and then you start and action that. You start doing that. And later on, your subconscious mind will help you with creating that plan. Your subconscious mind will actually tell you which direction you need to go in order to achieve that sum of money. And then the last step, the 5th step in the process, is that you need to read it out loud every morning and every night. You need to repeat it, and not just read it out loud. You need to read it with your emotion and faith, like we spoke about in the previous video. And you can go back to video 4 and watch it if you missed it. So this thinking has to be with emotions and with faith, believe in yourself that you can make it happen. Otherwise, you're not sending a proper message to your subconscious mind, because you don't really believe in it and you're not feeling it. So when it comes to this process, there is a reason why Napoleon Hill keeps saying that you need to repeatedly say it out loud every morning and every evening. And he explained why this is required to achieve that. So it refers to the subconscious mind like a garden. So if you think about it, your mind is divided into 2, your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind is a garden with a fertile ground. And the thoughts that you have in your conscious mind are like the seeds that you're going to plant in that garden. So if you repeat a particular thought, it will become a seed that will grow in that garden. And it doesn't matter if these are harmful thoughts or beneficial thoughts. Whatever you repeatedly thinking, these are going to be the seeds that are going to grow in your subconscious garden. So your subconscious garden might be full of weeds, or it might be full of beautiful flowers. It all depends on the kind of thoughts that you entertain in your conscious mind. And this is why it's so important to repeat it all the time, because this repetition is what actually transfers the message into your subconscious mind and what helps your subconscious mind work on a particular area to find the way for you to achieve what you desire to achieve. And, you know, it's very interesting to read this book because when Napoleon Hill published this book in 1937, there wasn't much of research about the power of our mind and our thinking. And now that I read it after so many years, there's so many research papers that were done already, so much that we do know today about how our minds operate, how it works. So reading that, while I'm reading that, I can link it to different research papers that I'm familiar with and see how it all related, which is fantastic, because today we have the scientific reason behind what Napoleon Hill is saying, which is great to connect the two. So, for example, with the repetitive thinking and controlling our conscious mind and our thoughts, there were quite a few research that were done on that area. And you'll be amazed to learn how many thoughts we entertain in our conscious mind every day. You can take a guess now before I'm telling you the number, but you're probably going to miss it by a lot, because every day, based on research, we have around 60,000 thoughts running in our mind. 60,000. This is mind-blowing, right? So many thoughts, and most of them we're not even aware of them. They're just bubbling in our mind without us knowing that they're there. And what's even more shocking is that 75% of these thoughts are negative thoughts. So think about it. Every day, you have like 45,000 thoughts running in your mind that are negative, that are not helping you, that actually harm you. And additional information that came from that research is that 95% of the thoughts we have in our day are repetitive. So we think them again tomorrow and the day after and a week later and a month later. We keep thinking the same thoughts. And most of them, 45,000 of them, are negative and harming us, which is just, it's shocking, right? And that's why it's so important to guard our mind and pay attention to what we're thinking and think thoughts that are beneficial to us. And that's why Napoleon Hill keeps stressing that you have to read it out loud. You have to think that a few times a day. And not just think that, but feel it with your emotion and believe in yourself. Have faith in that. Know that this is true, that you're going to make it happen, because Napoleon Hill realized the power of our thoughts way before we have a scientific proof for that. And actually, when I was reading that, I remembered something else that I read, and which was fascinating. And it's a story about Jim Carrey, the actor. You might have heard about that before, but Jim Carrey was growing up in a very poor family. Actually, he had a very difficult childhood. At some point, the whole family was sleeping in a van, and he worked as a teenager as a janitor to get money to feed his family. They didn't have any money, so they were really struggling. And Jim Carrey had a dream to be an actor. And he actually spent time visualizing and imagining himself becoming that person, becoming that actor. He shared in interviews how he imagined already director approaching him and people telling him, "You're really good as an actor." And one day he actually took a check, a bank check, and he wrote down $10 million for himself. And he said it's for rendering acting services. And he put a date on that. So it's exactly what Napoleon Hill is saying, right? Imagine in your mind the exact sum of money that you want to have and by what date you want to have it, and for what is the price that you're going to pay for it. So what kind of services you're going to provide to achieve this kind of money. And Jim Carrey did all that, and he practiced imagining himself being that person, being that successful actor already, way before he was a successful actor. And amazingly, at that date that he wrote, he actually managed to achieve this $10 million as a salary for his role in Dumb and Dumber, the movie. And it just shows you the power of your mind, right? Because Jim Carrey, he had no idea how to make it happen when he was writing it, when he was imagining himself as an actor, but he fully believed that he can be that person. And he had a strong desire to be that person and to achieve that kind of money. And so his subconscious mind helped him find a way to get to that point where he actually managed to achieve this sum of money that he desired to have. So it just shows you the power of our mind and what it means when we actually believe in ourselves. We are very clear on what we want, and we keep telling our subconscious mind, this is what I want to achieve. And by this date, I'm going to achieve it. And imagining ourselves becoming that person before we became that person, imagining ourselves already in that future. It's very, very powerful. And so this just to emphasize the need to do this repetition every day, at least twice a day, repeat these thoughts, this intention with emotions and full faith in ourselves. As this repetition is what's gonna create the seeds that we're gonna sow in our subconscious garden. And this is what our subconscious mind is gonna work on. Because we're repeating this kind of thinking, this is what our subconscious mind is gonna work on, and this is how it's gonna find a plan and a way to make it happen. So if you haven't done so already, you can download the free workbook that comes with this video series. You'll have all the information there and the exercises that you need to do in order to think yourself rich. I'll put the link to it in the description below so you can grab it from there. So this is it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.